Welcome to Council Action. I'm Russell Inman, and joining us tonight from Ward 4 is Councilman Jeff Caputa. Jeff, it's good to have you tonight.
Good evening, Russell. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good tonight.
Good. Beautiful day today. It was a great day.
Beautiful day. A council meeting that didn't take us into the wee hours of the night, and actually, I guess, into the morning. If we look at it that way for the last meeting. Yeah,
last meeting it was a fairly long meeting. I think it ended it was close to 1 o'clock in the morning. So it was a long meeting.
Well, Jeff, let's talk a little bit about, we didn't do a council action last week because of the time frame, and there just wasn't enough time allowed. So let's spend a little bit of time right now just talking about what happened at that meeting, what was going on. The big topic was the residential real estate business regulations.
Correct, Russell. And what it is, it's we had a lot of people that spoke against it that were from other parts of the city. I mean, outside the city of Florissant, and they were landlords, and what this bill basically boils down to is responsible landlords. Be responsible for your property and the people that you rent to. I mean, we've had a lot of problems with these landlords where they come in, they let their houses go to pot, and it's an eyesore. It really isn't a bad eyesore for the city, and we hear about it all the time. 95% of my calls that I get from my citizens are on rental properties. Mm-hmm. The grass is not cut. Shingles are hanging off, gutters are hanging off, paint's peeling. I mean, it's trash. It was beginning to take its toll on everybody. And the citizens wanted this. We brought this. We've been working on it for at least longer than a year and a half. You got to commend Councilman Pagano and Councilman Jones. They did a lot of the homework on it, did a lot of the work on this this bill. It's called crime-free bill. Actually, a different name for it is called crime-free. And there's things in it that we didn't have in place before in the city, like a lot of these landlords, they live out of town, out of state. I have several houses in my ward to where the landlords live in Australia.
Really?
And trying to get a hold of them peoples, you can't do it. You just can't do it. So this bill puts in place to where the landlord or a management company that takes care of the property has to be located within 50 miles radius of their said address, which is good. In case something happens, you can get a hold of these people a lot easier than trying to get a hold of somebody in Australia.
Both for the city to be able to communicate with them as well as the renter, the person in the property. If they've got something that's going wrong with the home, they're not stuck out of luck.
Correct. And what this bill does, it helps us with these landlords to make them accountable for their property. Like I said, it all boils down to responsibility to be a responsible landlord, to take care of their property. They have naysayers that say it's going to drive down property value in the city. I don't believe it. Why would it? If you're taking care of your home and you're a responsible landlord, why would that drive down the property value? That would actually bring it up because you're taking care of your home instead of having a trashy house, trash laying all over. You get there and you clean it up a little bit and make the neighborhoods look nice.
I know one thing, if I remember right from a couple weeks ago, is they were trying to threaten like the investors would pull out of Florissant. They wouldn't want to keep their rental properties here.
Correct. And when we first went into this to do this crime-free, there's several cities that we got a hold of and seen how their crime-free worked, and they told us exactly what we heard last council meeting.
Okay.
They explained, they went through the same stuff where these people say they're going to pull out, but they didn't. None of their investors pulled out. Their housing stock is better. You have better renters, better rental property, and it's automatically, he says you'll see the difference almost immediately.
That was going to be my next question. What is the number of years that are going to need to unfold for the bad renters, essentially, to get out, those landlords to be able to find some good renters, and
Yes.
and the residents to then be able to see the benefits of this?
Yes. And just like we have some landlords in the city, I mean, you have 3 or 4 families going in and out of these properties within a year's time. You know, and that costs the city money going in there and doing the inspections every time. So this hopefully you can get some renters in there that decide they're going to love the city of Florissant, like we all do, and maybe they'll stay here and possibly even buy a home in there. You know, and that's what we're looking for, to get these stocks of homes to be built or to be bought.
And we did have residents from the city of Florissant come up and speak that night. And
Correct.
we're thankful to the council for passing this.
Yes, we had several residents, citizens of Florissant come up and spoke in favor of this. You know, I have a man in my ward that wrote the letter to the editor and to the Post, and a very good letter. He commended the city council for this, and he's proud of us. He's proud of the city council for doing this. I mean, our city council is so proactive. We're at all the events. I mean, we have put up for the streets, the rental property. We're addressing the problems that we had in the past that the citizens wanted us to address. So we are listening to the citizens. It don't happen overnight, but we are addressing these issues, and what we put in place will take care of these.
Good. Well, the meeting tonight kind of started off with a good commendation for the city with hearing from citizens. The food truck night success that we had
Yes.
over the summer.
Yes, the food trucks are very successful that we have in the city, and like Mr. Magliano or Paul said, that the vendors say that this is one of their best events. And I can understand that, because our community is so, you know, the ones that show up for the food trucks, I mean, they're so involved in the community, and it makes the city look good.
Oh, yeah.
And they're always packed. They always do a good business, the food trucks. And they like coming back here, and it shows. You get the same, and each time we're getting more and more food trucks here. So that shows that it's working.
City's continuing forward. You know, the organization continues to show up and address the council, talk to the council about the ordinance against the ordinance for the ban of pit bulls. They came again tonight. They continue to kind of make their plea towards the city. Tonight they talked about I guess the pit bulls that are taken into Florissant's custody then are sent to the county. So tonight their plea was that, hey, will you let these be adopted out instead of sending them to the county?
Correct, because like the lady said, that a lot of these pit bulls, they are turned over to the county and they are euthanized, and some of them are probably the best dogs that you ever want to have. So I think that, yeah, we should look at that to see where possibly that they can be adopted. You know, the city council can look at that, and I don't have no problems with that. I don't know, that's my personal opinion. I think they should be adopted. I mean, if it's a vicious dog and there's something wrong with the dog, no. You don't want a family to have these vicious dogs.
Absolutely.
So, but if they're good dogs, and I don't see no problem in why they can't be adopted.
So that's something that we'll see how that carries
Yes,
forward.
yes.
In the next
That's
several
my
weeks.
I don't know what the rest of the council feels on this yet. We haven't had a chance to talk about it, so we'll see in the future what's going to come out about it.
Okay. Public hearings tonight. The first one was postponed. This was for the Dunkin' Donuts that's looking to kind of reestablish itself here in Florissant. That's going to come back November 28th?
Correct. The first public hearing we had on here, there was a few people that spoke against it, And the way they had the building set, it was so close to the man's property that the Dunkin' Donuts people had to go back and redesign, I believe redesign the building basically, and try to accommodate the citizen right there that lives near.
Yeah, he brought in some pictures that meeting that really showed how much it was going to encroach.
Yes, very, very close to his property. They would encroach him very close.
He could have ordered from the drive-through from his backyard.
He could have sat in his backyard, but if he had a chance to press the button or whatever, drive-through, he could have ordered from his backyard. That's how close he was.
And it was an example of a resident. The pictures of his backyard were beautiful. I mean, he had done a lot of work. He's been keeping up his property, looking nice. So
he had a beautiful backyard with a pond out there and very
you can quickly
very well
understand why
landscaped.
he didn't want that cutting into the property.
Correct.
There was another public hearing tonight. This was the request to amend a zoning code for a child care facility in a shopping center. Now, that just closed out tonight. We didn't have the petitioner show up again.
Yes, that's the second time. He didn't show up last city council when it was over for the public hearing. He didn't show up this time. That is to have a child daycare center in a shopping center, which the city has an ordinance on where they're not allowed.
Right.
So this man wanted to come up, Joseph Asari, and he wanted us to amend that ordinance and give it a special use permit to have it inside of a shopping center. And no,
It's not a precedent that we want to set.
No, not at all. And we were all against it, and so this public hearing was closed, and it's a dead issue.
Okay. Well, the Florissant Valley Fire Protection District wants to put in a new digital sign, and that went through with a public hearing tonight. The kind of the new digital reader boards,
Yes.
full color.
It's full color digital board. They're gonna use it for public service announcements. Like the one they showed on the screen tonight was like a fire ban that we had a couple years ago when we were experiencing the drought. That's when a lot of places were canceling fireworks over the 4th of July that year. And city did it. We didn't cancel, and we had no problems. The fire department did their job, and we didn't have no problems with that. And I think it'd be a great addition to that. And any kind of public service announcement would be great, especially if it has something to do with safety. That's gonna be good for the community.
The last public hearing that came up tonight was a request to rezone Bridal Development Corporation. It's a property located at 2710 North Highway 67. They want to redevelop this and put in a Raising Cane's.
Yeah.
The chicken fingers.
Raising Cane Restaurant. It's a family-owned restaurant. I
I
believe.
had not heard that story about Raising Cane's until tonight. That was quite interesting.
Yes. They have about 285 of them in the United States alone, and ours in Florissant will be the 10th one in the metropolitan area. They have 9 as right now. And they've been trying to get here for the past 3 years, and they finally found the right spot, and we're looking forward to it.
It'd be a nice redevelopment of that corner there.
Yes,
That's in Surrey Plaza where there was a bank, as I remember.
Correct.
There, and it's been a mattress outlet, the different things.
Yes.
But that's going to be a nice beautification for that corner.
Yes, they'll tear that down and put a whole new building up, and they'll raise the building for Raising Cane.
And they're gonna do it with brick.
Yes. And they said that. They looked at our brick ordinance, and actually they have said that all the restaurants are built
Brick
based
and block. That's good.
with block, which is good. They're good, sturdy buildings.
Okay. Second readings, there weren't any tonight.
No, we had none tonight.
None tonight.
That's a first.
It really is. New business, no board appointments. We did have a resolution authorizing the offering for sale of special obligation bond to the city of Florissant. And then we had our first readings, sign and billboards. This is a size change. So
Yes, right now we have our ordinance is 16 square feet, the largest sign that you can have. And
it's going to be bumped up to 32 square feet.
increase the size to 32 square feet.
And what are these signs that they're referring to? What are they usually used for?
Usually it's political signs. I mean, you see them around town. I mean, you see them other places, other different cities, and they're fairly big. And sometimes they can be an eyesore, you know, so.
We're not looking at a 32-foot garage sale sign.
Right, right. Yeah, that'd be the next thing. That'd be the next thing, probably.
Okay, we had continued from the public hearing and ordinance for the Valley Fire Protection installation of their digital sign. That had one reading tonight.
First reading tonight also,
And then we
yes.
had the first reading on the Community Development Block Grant, the annual action plan for the city of Florissant, authorizing and directing the mayor to submit a plan to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. Do you want to talk about that?
Yes,
first reading?
and that helps the city a lot. I mean, that money that we get from HUD, it helps people that say can't afford to maybe to do some repairs. You know, Carol Mayer does a wonderful job in that office over there. And so if you ever need anything like any kind of repairs that you can't handle or financially you can't do, call Carol Mayer at the city of Florissant. Get a hold of her and talk to her, and she can hopefully help you with some volunteers. And this is what this money goes to. Okay. So it's a very good program. And actually, going back to the crime-free bill, there was some people that were talking about it that said possibly we can lose that kind of money.
That's right, they did.
I don't foresee that happening. I mean, why it would make our city better with this crime-free, you know, and with this block that we get from HUD, it's going to make their housing stock actually better too.
Sure.
So.
The next bill was for an authorization of $8,000 to be transferred for equipment repair from professional services. A backhoe.
Yes.
Went out.
Yeah, they had a backhoe shot craps recently, and they didn't buy a new one. They just repaired it. Okay. You know, instead of buying a new one, they could repair this one, and that's what the money was allocated for. So to get that going, getting that up and running.
And there was a budget item for the golf course, moving some money over from merchandise to part-time salaries.
Yes.
Just to cover that out for the remaining part of the fiscal year. A lot of this really is just balancing out the year-end budget.
We with the merchandise, there was a lot of old merchandise that wasn't selling and that. So we got a little bit newer on that, new merchandise in there, and a lot of it's more cost effective, you know, at a cheaper price. I wouldn't call it cheaper, but inexpensive. So in that, and yeah, for the part-time salary, so we just put that money over to that.
Okay, and then we had a $10,000 exchange in the Bangor Pool salaries to cover the Bangor Pool utilities costs for the remaining part of the fiscal year.
Yes, there was some of it that had with the utilities and some of the chemicals that were different. They're using a different type of chemical over there, and it seems to be working.
Okay.
So, and that's what they had to transfer that money for.
Well, that brings us to the council announcements part. Tell us a little bit about what's going on in Florissant and your ward.
Okay. My council announcements, I make the same ones basically every meeting about firearms. I know we had a little rash of
lock them up.
Right, firearm thefts, people's cars. I mean, if you're going to own a firearm, be a responsible firearm owner and lock it up. Don't leave it in your cars for days and days and days and in out, and you don't even know when. There's been several firearms that were stolen out of vehicles, and the person didn't even know exact date when it was taken. So, and that just goes to show you he's not responsible for that firearm. I mean, if you don't know how long your firearm has been in your car, that's terrible. So be a responsible firearm, because a lot of these firearms that are stolen, they end up on the streets, and it's usually a crime. You know, usually an armed robbery or somebody getting shot with them. And there's enough firearms on the streets being stolen. So in this city, we need to keep it from being stolen and lock up your firearms, be a responsible firearm owner. Also, I'm chairman, chief of police. Mr. Lowry is the chairman of the Chief Police Association. I think that's a good honor for that man. Makes the city look good that they chose, and they chose our chief of police to be the chairman. That's a good, nice honor for himself and the city.
And now that it's getting cool outside, the ice rink has
Yes.
opened up.
Yes, the ice rink has opened, so like the mayor said earlier tonight, get your skates going, get them sharpened, and go out and enjoy our ice rink. It's a very good ice rink. I remember my kids used to play hockey there all the time. My son played hockey for years for Valley, now it's Twin Bridges.
Yeah.
And we utilize Florissant Rink a lot for practice and games. Also, the Veterans Day Parade coming up November 13th. Different route.
Okay.
Different route this year. Usually the old route started at St. Charles Street by the Knights, moved up, went up through St. Catherine and all that, and up to Waterford, then Waterford to the Egan Center. But this year it's starting at Banger Park, and it's going to end up at the VFW Hall in St. Francis. So it's just a different route, a little bit shorter, but a more direct route, and so we'll see how this goes this year.
And I will make mention of a small, short tribute to Father Time. We know he passed this last week. He was a big part of the city of Florissant.
Yes, he was.
To all of our events, these parades. It was always expected to see his smiling face.
Yeah, Mr. Pagano, Paul Pagano, Father Time was just, he was a prince of a man. Nicest guy. I remember him from when I was a kid, you know, and he was doing this. And like Miss Pagano said with his produce truck,
Yeah.
driving around with Kate Smith, and God Bless America. And he was very patriotic man, World War II veteran, and had a large family. So he's going to truly be missed.
He would have been at this parade.
Yes, he would have. Yes, he would have. He would definitely been there.
Jeff, anything else going on in your ward? Appreciate your time tonight.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, they're redoing one of the electric poles, the main poles. They're putting up a single pole instead of one of them towers. So they've been working on that. They have the poles there. So once they start getting that going, it's going to take a little bit to get these poles up in the air. They got to get some large equipment in there, some big cranes in there. Yeah. So hopefully they can get that in it and won't impede in any of the traffic. Let me see, what else? Everything's going good. Like if any citizens in Ward 4 need to get a hold of me, give me a call, email me at ward4@florissantmissouri.com, florissantmo.com. And shoot me an email, give me a call, 314-239-1568. If you have any problems or concerns, questions, give me a call and I'll get right on it and we'll take care of it as soon as we can.
All right, Jeff, thanks for being there for the residents. Appreciate your time tonight.
All right, thank you, Russell.
Thanks for watching. This has been Council Action. We'll see you next time.
Okay, thank you.